although we're supposed to start off, but it's going to start off that way. Hello. If you don't know me, I'm Michael Romans, the leader of the Say It With Me Now Dragon Family. Well, I'm your fact giver. I'm your internet comedian of the decade, it feels like at times, because, hey, I've been doing this for almost a fucking decade. I've been doing this since I was 15 years old. Shit. Like 8 years of making content gets to you after a while, but hey, we're not having to, yeah. I've been doing this for a minute. Fuck. Yep. But oh yeah, let's get to it, shall we? But the word pet peeve, I never understood what it meant, and I still don't understand what it means. Pet peeve is a way of saying pissed off, ticked off, It's a fun little word, right? Pet peeve, right? It's not a short abbreviation of a name. It's not a nickname. It's more of a little nickname for anything else, right? It's stupid. It's idiotic. It's moronic. It's moronic. It's fortunic. It's motherfucking portisonic, right? The little fancy words I just said are a fancy way of saying it's stupid. But hold on, right? Why am I saying things that piss off people? Why am I bringing that up? Well, if you don't know what I'm trying to say, let me explain it to you in the most simplest of terms, right? If you don't know what I do, right, I make freestyles, and this is a freestyle, right? Because we're here to get views. We're here to make people brain rot the rot of their life. We're here to make people think that we're here to be the best entertainer. We're here to make people think that everything's gonna be okay. We're here to make people think that life is just a game that you can play and nothing bad will happen. Right? Because if you just stick around in the world, you just stick around. Right? You must forget that we're all going to die. We're all going to be upset. And we're going to leave somebody with our valuables, our films, and, our toys, everything, right? Our sex toys, everything. It doesn't matter. That's the reality at hand, right? They're going to be stuck with everything we own, and eventually they're going to get rid of everything we own, and that's the reality that has to set in. That's the reality that plays at hand. That's the reality that twists it now, to then, to then, right? It's the valuable of life. Life is valuable, right? Now, you're probably thinking, why am I saying all this stuff? Why am I saying the fact of life? Why am I saying the now to then, the in, the then, the zen, den, bam, ban, babano, 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 babano. Right? Call me Pinocchio, because when I lie, my nose suddenly gets bigger. Right? Why was that put in a Disney movie? I mean, fuck, it's like a giant dick joke. Because it was. In a way, if you think about it, Disney, right, made a dick joke in 1939. That's the only Disney film where you're gonna see a fucking dick joke. I mean, hey, right? I mean, fucking Geppetto, his name literally sounds like you're saying pedo. Geppetto, pedo. Middle on the nose there, if you ask me, right? Now, I know this freestyle might seem a little off. It might seem a little out of ordinary. It might seem a little on the nose. But hey, don't worry. We're getting to it. We're getting what we're going to say. We're going to say what I'm going to say. But over 1,000,000 years on Earth, people live, right? We evolved from gorillas, right? We evolved from gorillas, from chimpanzees, right? We evolved over 1,000,000 years ago, right? You gotta wonder, why did we evolve? Why didn't we just stay monkeys, right? Well, the question is, if we stayed monkeys, would we have the knowledge that we have? Would we have the ability to think that we do? Will we have everything that we know? Will we be making music? Will we be making films? That's a question you got to think about. Would I be a YouTuber, right? Or would we all still be in the jungle? That's a question you got to think about right there, right? Are you ready for the next part of the video? Are you ready for the next part? Are you ready? Are you ready? Jelly, 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 fatty, 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 fatty. Well, let's talk about addiction. This video is a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one for me to make. Are you ready for this freestyle? Freestyle, right? Addiction, right? Drug addiction. Addiction to drugs, right? Drug addiction. Alcoholic addiction, right? Buying addiction. Addiction comes in all shapes and sizes, and that's reality itself. By itself. Known by itself. For itself. Right? Gambling addiction. That's right. Gambling addiction. Right? You thought I wasn't going to bring that up, but that's where you're wrong. That's right. That's right. That's right. Are you ready to rumble? Right? People gamble on fighting. People gamble on baseball. People gamble on everything, right? Gambling is one of the worst addictions in the world. Drugs is the worst addiction in the world, right? Let's talk about one of the worst things in the world ever, right? And that is none other than abortion, right? Abortion is not a good thing to talk about. It's not a great thing to do, but people do it, right? Now, should you do it? Not really, but maybe you don't want to have the kid. Maybe you shouldn't have the kid because something really, really bad happened to you. But the question on the theory, are you ready for the theory of fact, the theory of life, the theory of the known, the theory of the unknown, the theory of the undetectable, the theory of the undetectable, the theory of the undelectable? Well, they say the snake is a sign of the devil. Right? They say the dog is a sign of a beast. Right? But they say the same thing about the cat. So you gotta wonder, why is all three of them things considered the sign of the devil? Right? You gotta wonder that little factor of life, right? Are you ready for the next one? Are you ready for the next line, the next slime, the next kind on the decline, the next bind on the next fine? Are you ready to be found before you get lost? Are you ready to be lost before you get found? Are you ready for the sound of the mind? Right? The ocean itself is so undiscovered, nobody knows exactly what's in it, right? To the point they say the megalodon is still alive. To the point they say maybe aliens come from the ocean? What? The fuck? You say? That's unimaginable. That's unfoundable. That's this. Huh? What? No. Are you ready for your next round of shock? Boom, boom, boom. Right? Year one of life. Right? You cry when you first born. Right? Your family takes care of you. You learn how to walk. Right? That is everything. And you may or may not get breastfed. That is year one of life. Now I know what you're thinking. Why am I saying all this stuff that has nothing to do with each other? Why, oh why? Cello to the mellow. Ollie, Ollie, fuck this! Boom, 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 boom. Are you ready for the next freestyle? But for decades, we didn't know what a concussion was, and that's an honest fact, right? I mean, hell, the human brain for decades was considered undiscoverable, unstudied to a certain degree, right? We just thought for decades your skull would be unimpenetrable, undestructed, undestroyed. That's what people thought. Are you ready for the next one? The biggest one of them all. For decades, doctors didn't put babies to sleep. They studied on them while they was wide awake and killed some babies. Now that is true, very, very true, sadly true, deeply true. Are you ready for the next one? The next weirdly true fact of life itself is you may or may not know it. But people think witchcraft is bad. But without witchcraft, we wouldn't have 95% of the medicine we have today. Right? Without witchcraft, actually voodoo, we wouldn't have the surgery to keep babies alive that we have today. So it's funny we say that witches was bad, but they've done more good for the world than they ever did bad. Right? They pulled out bullet wounds when nobody else would. So think about that for a minute.